I've had this conversation several times recently, so I thought it is time to make a YouTube video about it. How do you approach a very senior executive in face-to-face networking and it not be awkward or icky? Often in these scenarios, we have one chance. This is the conference that they're coming to, or this is the event that they're going to be at. We have one chance to introduce ourselves. Often it's going to be the initial meeting. We've never spoken to them before, and we really do want to make a good impression. And we know cognitively that this is going to make a good impression on our career. We know that this is going to be a good strategic relationship. And we want to make sure that they know about what it is that we do. But it is at that point that fear generally kicks in, and imposter syndrome starts to do its amazing work and tell us they're really busy, they're really senior, that somehow we're bothering them, that they're too busy to listen to us. And sometimes if we have no direct impact, if what we do has no direct impact on what they do, that can make it really, really feel awkward. Plus the classic, who am I to speak to them? And we can kind of elevate their status and lower our own status in that process. So the imposter syndrome does a really, really good job at keeping you safe and preventing you from having that conversation. And so it becomes really easy to avoid having that strategic conversation that you know you want to have. But what's the impact of that? Well, obviously there's the lost opportunity of speaking to this senior person. But more importantly, there's the frustration that will come up afterwards and the potential recrimination of, oh, you had the opportunity and you didn't do it. And we give ourselves a really, really hard time. And when that happens, we actually build up resistance to doing it the next time. So we almost make a block for ourselves. So it gets harder and harder to actually go and talk to that senior person at that networking event. But there are two things that you can do to make that whole scenario so much easier and have a really positive impact on your networking experience, on how you're perceived, and on the strategic relationships that you can develop. So what are those two things? Well, number one is the quick door opener, and number two is one person removed. So I'm going to start with one person removed first of all. Networking is all about who you know, more than who you don't know. So if you're thinking about that senior person, who do you know that is in a relationship with them? Who do you know that works with them or near them or for them? How many people do you know that are slightly removed from that individual that also know you, that could introduce you? So that could be your boss, that could be your boss's boss, it could be a colleague in a different department. But what happens when we leverage those networks and don't feel the whole responsibility of ourselves just to go and make a sort of cold connection with that individual is that we get the halo effect. So if the person that is introducing us is known to the other person, suddenly we get elevated. The relationship becomes a little bit more stable. There's less friction or resistance to meeting us because there's already a connection. It's like we already elevated in that person's status. Plus, three-way conversations can often be a little bit easier. So if you sort of dry up or you're not quite sure where to go next, there's someone else to take the conversation forward. So really helpful to have that third person in the conversation. The other reason this is really, really powerful is the next time you meet that individual, you're able to go, oh, hello, we met at so-and-so introduced us at X event a while ago. And so you get that halo effect again of that relationship that you have with the person that has referred you to this senior executive at this particular meeting. So referral, that one person removed or two people removed, can be really, really powerful, really effective. So don't forget to leverage that. You don't have to do all the work yourself. The second thing is the quick door opener. So if you're very concerned about bothering that person, taking up heaps of their time, doing more, taking up more of their time than is necessary, this can be really, really helpful. So you just walk up to them there's a clear moment. You go up to them, you say, hello, and introduce yourself. I'm new to the organization, or I'm new to this role, or this is a new department that we've created, and I wanted to introduce yourself. Introduce yourself. I am. Who are you? And then tell them very quickly and effectively how it is that your department, your role is impacting the organization. What is it you're trying to do? What is it you're working on? What is the goal? So just make it really, really clear about what you're working towards. And then very simply say, I appreciate you've got so many people to meet and talk to this evening. Don't apologize for taking up the time. Appreciate you've got lots of people to meet. But I wanted to open the door to further conversation at a time that is convenient for you. So I'll let you get on with your evening. It's delightful to meet you. My name is, I'll speak to you again. And then just you walk away. The reason that works so effectively is because you have taken agency. You're controlling the time frame, you're controlling the conversation, but you're also doing it in a way that says, I appreciate you've got lots of other things to do. I'm not going to take up your time too much, but I'm over here if you want to continue the conversation. Now they might do that straight away. It's like, no, I'd love to hear more about, it's great. I'm glad you came to meet me. Or they might want to talk to you about it later, or they might not, but you've taken agency. So there's no fear of recrimination and frustration on your part. Plus you just look like someone who's really, really in control of the situation. And for me, it's about that agency. When you employ that agency in a networking scenario, you look, sound like the expert that you are. You elevate yourself in that scenario. So if there's a senior executive that you do want to introduce yourself to at a face-to-face networking event, those are the two ways I would really recommend that you use. So who could refer you and introduce you to this very senior person so you get that halo effect, or take the agency yourself, go up, introduce yourself very quickly, very succinctly, but clearly saying door is open for further conversation. And then go off and enjoy the rest of your evening doing networking, knowing that you've done a good job, knowing you've created the first steps into that relationship. Take care, and we'll see you soon. Bye for now.